give me something money. Prediction markets are operating illegally.
Imagine being able to build
Is that
an
so?
app with your name on it. Just by
Is
thinking about
that
it.
so?
Meet base
Ad. I bought it all. What's this?
When states and municipalities legalize gambling, it is almost always
I
for
think
economic and
they're
budgetary
legal though.
reasons. They
From what I understand, the prediction markets got an okay from essentially the market as a whole. I guess the government did. I don't know if the government ever. Actually, no. There were court cases. It was ruled on that they could operate because from what I know, they framed the use of these markets as like a hedge. Like, this is just another way to hedge against political events. This is protecting investors, is what they said, because the theory is if you're invested in any company and some political something fucks it, then maybe you can put money on the political outcome happening, and you at least make some money back in that hedge. But I mean that's what I understand to be the argument. Am I 100% sure if that's what I feel like I did a video on this though, and from my takeaway from it is that's how it works.
figured that the tax revenue and tourism
I guess this
benefits
guy
outweigh the
disagrees.
social harms. Recently, there's been a big debate about what constitutes gambling. For example, you can speculate on the price of beef by buying futures contracts on the Chicago Mercantile Exchange.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
this is
you
not
could
considered gambling
argue
because these
that that's
contracts also
gambling,
fulfill a real
but then you
non-speculation
also
use
get
case.
the shit
For
if you
example, let's suppose you're a
if the
cattle
contract
farmer.
expires.
Right now, the price of beef is relatively high, but your cows won't be ready to take to market for many months. If the price of beef falls significantly during the period, this could be financially ruinous for you. To hedge this risk, you can sell short cattle futures on the CME to lock in the current price. No reasonable person would call the farmer a gambler. In recent years, the line between gambling and futures markets has blurred significantly, and this has created an extremely lucrative new industry called prediction markets. Kalshi and Polymarket
I know
are
there was a
prediction
ton
markets,
of
which are
money.
technically classified as derivatives markets, not gambling. But if you look at how these companies market themselves, and more importantly,
Will
how
Jesus
consumers
rise
actually
again?
use
Yeah.
them, they look very similar
Are the
to
British
casinos.
coming?
Over the past few months, Kalshi and Polymarket have seen their usage and revenue explode. On the 2026 Super Bowl alone, Kalshi had over $1 billion of trading volume.
billion on
Kalshi
just
and
the Super Bowl.
Polymarket have become two of the most valuable private companies in the world. Kalshi recently raised a funding round which valued the company at $11 billion, and the traditional financial world wants a slice of the pie. The parent company of the New York Stock Exchange recently made a $2 billion strategic investment.
This is the other
into
thing I saw,
Polymarket,
which is like,
but
this happens. I don't know. I mean, I feel like they're not going to make any progress with the like legislation. There's just no way. Like the New York Stock Exchange owner company puts $2 billion into the company.
Hovering over the head of this booming industry,
the
is
odds might be a
potentially
little bit
fatal
tilted
risk.
there.
All of this might be illegal. Many states are now suing Kalshi and
Kalshi in court over 19 federal lawsuits with the future rise of prediction markets.
saying that they're illegally operating gambling platforms.
I think they already did their
pretending to be
lawsuits.
derivatives exchanges.
I mean,
If
this is
prediction
true.
markets are classified as
They are
gambling,
gamblers.
this
So
would be
many,
potentially
I
ruinous
mean,
for the industry.
if
In
they
this
had
video,
regulated
we'll
some of the
untangle the
stuff on there a bit
exceedingly
more,
legal status of Kalshi and Poly.
if they'd regulated some of the stuff on, like some of the actual predictions on the market a bit more, I think there's a better argument, but some of the shit, there's no way it's like a hedge. There's no way.
Whether or not their current positions are tenable. If you want to achieve financial freedom, trying to make a quick buck from sports betting or prediction markets is not a responsible way to do this.
This guy on the left is
Instead,
tweaking.
You need to understand your income, expenses, and make a financial plan that works for yourself.
It's
and
true.
this has never been easier thanks to today's sponsor Monarch, or even seekers who found peace of mind seeing the full picture of their finances. Both platforms offer literally thousands of markets, and you can bet on pretty much anything you can think of. For example, on Polymarket, you can bet on
the sports thing is where it really gets against like their argument. Like, if this is a hedge for businesses, against events, or a hedge for people against events, like, why do you have sports? Like, is this supposed to be for sports team owners to hedge against the long-term success of their, like, I don't even understand.
The outcome of soccer games, whether Pete Hegseth will ban the military from using Claude. The technical term for these markets is event contracts. If you bet that the US will bomb Iran by June 30th, you are technically purchasing a contract. It's a two-sided market, so for every yes contract, there's an
There's a
offsetting
no.
no contract that somebody else on the platform
That's
purchased.
where the money is made.
As a simple numerical example, let's suppose that the
spread.
odds are 50%. You buy a yes contract for 50 cents. Somebody else buys a no contract for 50 cents. Between you and your counterparty, you collectively put $1 into Polymarket. If the US indeed bombs Iran by June 30th, the person that bet yes receives the full $1 and vice versa. This is a contract that pays out based on the occurrence of a real-world event. It's a peer-to-peer market, so you're betting against another user on Polymarket, not Polymarket itself. Polymarket can generate revenue by charging
is the difference between this and sports books, at least when it comes to betting on sports. The other stuff, it's like, I mean, I don't know if there's a comparison. I don't know if there's anywhere else you can bet on movie shit and pop culture and number of tweets somebody puts out in like a week. Like, there's just nowhere else.
Transaction fees. Polymarket acts as both the issuer and trading venue for these two-sided event contracts. Today, both Polymarket and Klashi are legal in all 50 US states, but this is a very recent phenomenon. For decades, these types of prediction markets were banned. To understand why prediction markets were illegal, we have to go all the way back to the 2008 global financial crisis. A large factor in creating the financial crisis was complex financial derivatives created by various banks and other financial institutions. Most of these derivatives were tied to mortgage-backed securities. It had nothing to do with prediction markets. However, this did create the general perception that the US financial system had become excessively speculative. Investment banks and other institutions were basically gambling with complex derivatives, which served no useful economic purpose. This culminated in 2010 with the passage of the Dodd-Frank Act. Dodd-Frank was a sweeping regulatory bill which did many things. One of the things it did was effectively ban most prediction markets. Specifically, any entity that offers event contracts must register with the Commodities and Futures Trading Commission, or CFTC. And the CFTC will not allow event contracts to fit within the following 5
You can't bet on these
segments: terrorism, assassination, war, gaming, or any illegal activity. Gaming refers to gambling. You cannot offer any event contract that looks similar to what you would see at a casino or sportsbook. This section banned event contracts on the outcome of sports games. Finally, the Dodd-Frank Act also banned any event contract which is against the public interest. This is a very vague prohibition that is to be interpreted by the CFTC. The prohibitions against event contracts related to terrorism, war, and assassinations are pretty self-explanatory. Hypothetically, you could think of scenarios where somebody bets a ton of money such an event would happen and then goes and carries it out themselves.
Yeah.
And if a country goes to war, you wouldn't want to have even the perception that political insiders could profit by betting on this.
True.
The prohibition against gaming event contracts had a slightly different rationale. The idea was to prevent the US financial system from resembling a casino. If financial institutions start betting on sports, this could introduce risks to the financial system.
That would be.
While event contracts were
imagine investing in the S&P 500 and some amount of your money is literally just being sports bet.
Technically legal, the CFTC enforced such stringent limitations that they were effectively banned. The types of things people might be interested in betting on: sports games, elections, geopolitics. These were all banned by the Dodd-Frank rules. One topic that many people would be interested in betting on are political elections. During election season, many people watch political debates in the same way they watch sports games. You have your candidate that you're rooting for, and you're excited by the anticipation of who will win the election.
Okay, what is
There is
this?
thus tremendous scope for insight. Predicted was run by the Victoria University of Wellington. This is a university located in New Zealand of all places. The ostensible purpose of Predicted was academic research. The university's political science department wanted to see how US voters estimated the odds of different candidates winning the election. Predicted received a so-called no action letter from the CFTC. While the CFTC did not officially approve Predicted,
so there was a website that kind of did this before, but it wasn't a business.
No individual user is allowed to bet more than $850 on each event contract, and no more than 5,000 people are allowed to bet on each contract.
Weird.
If only relatively small amounts of money can be wagered, the potential for insider trading and manipulation is greatly mitigated.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to bother manipulating an election for $850. That's why the CFTC allowed Predicted to operate. Predicted became very popular. By 2019, it was estimated that the platform processed over $250 million worth of volume per year. This is despite the restrictions on wager size. Predicted generated revenue from transaction fees, but it was technically a
so it was a business.
Profit entity. The profits Predicted generated went to the Victoria University of Wellington, which is itself is a non-profit institution.
Does that count? That's a bit of an interesting loophole. A school running, essentially a casino where they're taking rake on bets, and what it's fine because it's a non-profit, because it's a school.
The CFTC began to get suspicious about Predicted. Technically, each user can only bet up to $850 on each contract.
Interesting.
In practice, the amount of money people could bet was much greater. Let's suppose you wanted to bet on the outcome of the 2016 US presidential election. If
Let's
you just bet that
suppose.
Trump or Clinton will win, you can only bet $850.
That would have been
However,
crazy
Predicate
bet.
also offered many other event contracts which were technically distinct, but highly correlated with the election outcome. You can bet on who will win each of the swing states. You can bet on the popular vote margin and the outcome of congressional elections.
Okay.
If you max out the
Now
exchange
tie it
component,
back. Now tie it
Poly
back.
market is an event contract market very similar to Predicate. At least in the early days, if you wanted to trade on Poly market, you had to deposit money into the platform via cryptocurrency. The contracts were denominated in the USDC stablecoin.
I do remember that. I remember trying to get on Polymarket back in high school, and you needed
Market did not
crypto.
register with the CFTC.
I'm not. Maybe it wasn't high school. Maybe that was like beginning
And
of
unlike Predicate,
college.
they did not seek a no objection letter. They were completely unregulated and illegal. In early 2022, the CFTC issued a cease and desist order to Polymarket. Polymarket was no longer allowed to operate in the US. After the cease
Yeah,
and
which is this is I don't understand why people use it in the US. Do they really VPN just for Polymarket when there's Kalshi? I mean, I guess Polymarket's more
Polymarket
established,
continued to
but
operate in some other countries. While it was illegal in the US, some US residents were nonetheless able to continue using the platform with VPNs and crypto transfers.
yeah.
Between 2022 and 2025,
I mean, the whole thing with it being crypto, it's like,
Polymarket
buddy,
operated as a
you're not
completely
gonna stop
unregulated
this.
entity. They were free to make markets on whatever they wanted. Throughout this period, they made event contracts that would clearly be in violation of the Dodd-Frank Act. For example, in 2023, they had an event contract that pays out if Russia uses a nuclear weapon by June 30th. This market had over $60,000 worth of volume. In 2021, another prediction market platform called Klashi was launched. Unlike Polymarket, Kalshi built its business by the book. They registered with the CFTC. This meant that their event contracts had to be approved by the CFTC. For the first few years of Kalshi's existence, the types of event contracts they could offer was extremely limited. The CFTC did not allow them to offer markets on elections, geopolitical events, or sports games. Kalshi was only allowed to make markets for topics such as inflation, interest rates, GDP growth. These types of markets have very little scope for manipulation or insider trading. The problem is, these markets are boring.
Bro, if the thing that's crazy though, that like, you know, you talk about insider trading is the mentioned in earnings call. Like, that shit is ridiculous. Some of the things, like if I look on Kalshi right now on my phone, let me see. Let's see if there's a mentions market. Come on. Mentions. Yeah, I mean it has a whole tab. I don't know. I don't know if you can really see that because of cam. Let's see, like what? Let's see. What's an easy one? What will Jeff Probst say during Survivor episode 5? So what is the host of the TV show gonna say during the next episode? And there's all sorts. There's puzzle, hunger and hungry, immunity idol, alliance, medic, key, trust. So there's a bunch of these. Let me see a really cheap, like a crazy payout. Yes, a crazy payout right now is medic. So there's a 30% chance that he says medic. If you put, you know, if you put, let's see, what's the max? $2,000 in it. Oh, that would shift the odds so much. Interesting. So you would need something with volume like hunger. Let's see. $500 on hunger turns into 715. That's really not great. Rope. So it seems like the more you put on these, like if I put $10 in, it turns into 28. $50 turns into 76. So it seems like you start to shift the odds. Let's see. Okay, well that has no volume. That has an $11,000 volume. This one, what will Caroline Levitt say during the next press briefing? Let's see. Ukraine 39%, Supreme Court 35%, Epstein 22%. So if you put $1,000 on her saying Epstein in the next meeting, you're gonna get $3,000. Now, obviously, I don't think this can be scaled. Yeah, you can only right now. This says you can only buy 2,800 worth for a payout of 5,000. But still, I mean that's doubling your money. And if you think of like commentators or something, or there's all these like earnings call ones, and like, you know, the odds that like a CFO or even a random like the people interviewing like CEOs and CFOs during these earnings calls, they could probably ask a question to force a word out of somebody. And you know, if it's a free $2,000, people might try and take it. There's really not much stopping them from taking it, you know, like I mean, sure, you know, maybe something comes of it, but
about the next CPI print in the way that
I feel like that's an easy thing to get away with for people.
They do for a sports game or even an election. During this period, Kalshi had very few customers, and its trading volume was very small. By 2023, they were only processing a few $100,000 worth of trades per day. They charged transaction
Holy
fees
shit.
equal to about 1% of volume, so they were only making a few $1,000s of daily revenue. Kalshi understood that at the status quo, they were never going to generate significant revenue. If they wanted to grow the business, they needed to offer more exciting markets that more people would be interested in. And a good place to start was election results. So they took the CFTC to court. Let's go back to the Dodd-Frank regulations. The 5 explicit categories of banned bets are terrorism, assassination, war, gaming, or any illegal activity. Elections do not fit within any of these categories, but remember that there's also a 6th category, the vaguely defined category of event contracts that are not in the public interest. The CFTC argued that election betting is not in the public interest. In October of 2024, a U.S. appeals court ruled in Kalshi's favor. The CFTC failed to provide convincing evidence that election betting is contrary to the public interest. This ruling came right in time for the 2024 U.S. presidential election.
That's insane.
Kalshi wasted little time in opening up event contracts for the election.
I do remember these.
Kalshi only had a few $100,000s worth of daily volume.
And
On
then
election day,
bang.
their volume surged to over 200
And then
million.
bang.
And this was only the beginning. Kalshi and Polymarket generated significant revenue processing bets on the election, and as it turned out, the outcome of the election would be very beneficial to the prediction markets as well. Donald Trump is a big supporter of prediction markets, and the Trump family has significant financial interest in the industry as well.
This this chick, oh yeah, I guess you can't see. This chick, she looks like God, who is that? Who's that actress? Blonde actress. What is she from? I wonder if I can like screenshot
Area 2025, Kalshi
and do like celebrity lookalike. Upload a photo of yourself. I'm gonna upload a photo of what's it called? I'm a celebrity lookalike. Okay. Add photos and files. Where is this gonna be? Dude, my screenshots always go fucking... Are they actually in this folder? I feel like they're not in this folder. 2023. Why is it all the way at the bottom? Oh my lord. Does it even have the newest one? No. Where does that go, dude? Like, where does it go? Sometimes it goes to documents. But where in documents? Pictures, maybe? No. Dude, where does it go? Oh my god. Here. What if I just do it again? This time I save it. Where is it? No, get it out of the OneDrive, brother. Get it out. Get it out. Put it in fucking downloads. Okay. God, dude, she looks... because I have to do this because I'm not gonna get over it. She looks like, what the hell is her name? This is probably gonna come back with just who it is. No. Is this who I'm thinking? No. How about this one? No. These aren't even close, dude. These aren't even close. No. What was she in? Blonde? She was also blonde. Oh well, I give up. I give up. Oops. Wrong one. Where the hell there?
Hired Donald Trump Jr. as a strategic advisor. As an advisor, Don Jr. almost certainly received significant cash compensation and probably received an equity stake in Kalshi as well.
Yeah, this was the crazy part.
Donald Trump Jr.
backing it.
owns a private equity fund called 1789 Capital. In August of 2025, 1789 Capital made an investment into Polymarket of an undisclosed size. Donald Trump Jr. also became a strategic advisor to Polymarket. The CFTC is now controlled by the Trump administration. While the Dodd-Frank Act is technically still in place, laws only have meaning if they are enforced. Under Trump, the CFTC has pretty much made it clear that they will not enforce the Dodd-Frank Act, at least not in relation to prediction markets. In December of 2025, Polymarket formally relaunched in the US. They continue to offer numerous event contracts, which are clearly illegal under any reasonable interpretation of Dodd-Frank.
Yeah, that's true.
Similarly, Kalshi greatly expanded the nature of event contracts on its platform.
I mean, if they start getting
By far
shut
the most
down in
significant category is
states,
sports betting. Both Kalshi and Polymarket now offer contracts
that'll
on
probably
professional and
give the
college
federal
sports
government
games.
some
Sports
reason to
betting now
look at it.
represents the vast
Maybe.
majority of revenue for both companies.
Maybe.
By some estimates, sports betting accounts for over 90%
Dude, why
of
is my
Kalshi's revenue.
camera like
During
a
the 2026
million
Super Bowl alone,
degrees?
Kalshi processed over $1 billion in
Holy.
betting volume. Online sports betting has been legal on the national level since 2018. Today, the majority of states allow legal sports betting. There are many established online sportsbooks, including DraftKings, FanDuel, and others. They had a massive head start in terms of operating history and brand recognition. So how have Kalshi and Polymarket been able to take so much market share away from them so quickly?
Tony Hawk.
Kalshi and Polymarket tend to offer slightly better odds than traditional sportsbooks like DraftKings and FanDuel. When you bet on a sportsbook, you're betting directly against the house. DraftKings tilts the odds slightly in their favor. The so-called house edge on most online sportsbooks is about 4%. Kalshi and Polymarket charge transaction fees of approximately 1 to 2%. Because the fees are lower, your odds on average are slightly better. Online sportsbooks are required to register with the state gambling authority in each state they operate in. This involves following all the applicable regulations in each state, an onerous regulatory requirement which entails substantial administrative complexity and cost. In every state where online sports betting is legal, the states charge excise taxes. After all, collecting tax revenue is the main reason why states legalize sports betting in the first place. The taxes vary from state to state, but they can be extremely high.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if they just find a way to tax it more, it'll be fine.
Of gross gambling proceeds.
They'll keep it
the
for
state
sure.
of Illinois recently added a 50-cent tax on every sports betting transaction. Now the sportsbooks are passing this cost on to the consumer. This
50 cent
obviously hurts
fee?
the value proposition. The sportsbooks need to generate enough revenue to pay their massive tax bills, advertising costs, corporate overhead, and hopefully make a profit.
Bro, a lot of people play small bets. That's like the entire fucking bet, especially if that fee is being passed along. People are just not going to do it.
Odds. Kalshi and Polymarket are technically not considered to be gambling, so they do not need to register with state gambling authorities. They do not pay any excise
There goes
taxes.
like the $2
They operate in all
parlays,
50
man.
states, including states like Utah and Alabama, where sports betting is illegal. They have no restrictions on how they can advertise, and anybody aged 18 or older can make an account. In the vast majority of
That's the
states,
crazy part is the
sports betting is legal.
18 plus instead of 21 plus.
If you watch interviews given by the CEOs of Kalshi and Polymarket, they love to talk about how prediction markets is an innovative new technology which is more efficient. That's why they're taking market share away from sportsbooks. This narrative could not be further from the truth. The actual technology
true.
that powers
I guess it
Kalshi
can't
and
be that
Polymarket
new.
is substantially identical to what Predictit created more than a decade in legal backlash. Many state governments receive significant tax
Nevada goes on the
revenue from sports
offensive.
betting.
I'm not
If
surprised
online
Nevada's one
sportsbooks
of the
continue
first
to lose
states
market
this
share to
gets
prediction
pushed in. I
markets,
mean,
this could cause
they
significant
probably
harm
got
to state government
casinos
finances.
lobbying.
As of early 2026, both Kalshi and Polymarket
Probably just got like MGM and everybody like, Mr. State, you need to regulate this. They're taking our market, and what they're doing is illegal and
including
bad.
Nevada, Arizona,
It's
Massachusetts,
bad.
and Utah. Kalshi and
That's
Polymarket
probably
argue
the
that states have no authority to regulate them.
MGM side.
They offer event contracts, which are financial derivatives. Financial derivatives belong under the sole jurisdiction of the CFTC. The CFTC recently announced that it will go to court to protect Kalshi and Polymarket from
How
state-level
much of this
regulations.
is there, bro?
Here's a brief statement given by Trump-appointed CFTC Chairman Michael Selig.
CFTC Chairman Mike Selig here. Over the past year, American
Introduce
prediction
the double
markets have been hit
introduction.
with an onslaught of state-led litigation. In response, the CFTC has today filed a friend of the court brief to defend its exclusive jurisdiction over these derivative markets. Prediction markets aren't new. The CFTC has regulated these markets for over 2 decades. They provide useful functions for society by allowing everyday Americans to
I don't know how much money this guy's getting. What?
commercial risks like increases in temperature and
No way. There's no
by
way.
allowing everyday Americans to hedge commercial risks like increases in temperature and energy price spikes. They also serve as an important check on our news media and our information streams.
Are you kidding?
Today, the CFTC is taking an important step to ensure
That is crazy. This man actually just made the claim that Kalshi is good because it allows everyday consumers to hedge against commercial risk that comes from changing temperature. Oh, buddy.
that these markets have a place
What?
here in
Okay,
America
I'm just gonna
and
ignore
have
that,
the
I guess. This
integrity
guy's full of
and
shit.
resilience and vibrancy
That's
that our derivatives
insane.
markets deserve. To those who seek to challenge our authority in this space, let me be clear. We will see you in court.
So you're threatening to sue state governments. Okay.
Everything that Selig says here is technically true, but paints a highly misleading picture of how
Okay.
prediction markets are actually being used in the United States today.
Yeah, and nobody's
It is
going on here and betting, oh, if this lady says Epstein at the next press brief, that's gonna hurt my my Bitcoin holdings. Like, I have to hedge against it,
true that
dude.
the CFTC has regulated prediction
Please.
markets for over 2 decades.
Or the temperature, I don't
For the first
understand
19
that.
of the
I like what you own let me think.
Those
You
years.
own a bunch of air
They follow the
conditioning
doc-
stock in I don't know, it would be the opposite. What's something that doesn't? You own a bunch of like ski resort stock, and so you're hedging
Frank
with
Act and
temperature
effectively banned
increase.
most prediction markets, with the exception of Predictit, which
Okay,
is
I
not
guess.
registered with the CFTC and operated in a very limited manner.
Thing is, what percent of the population is doing that? 0.00001, like, or nobody. There's like 5
It's
people
only
in the
past
country
year that the
doing
Trump
it.
administration has given prediction markets carte blanche to do whatever they want. He then talks about the use case of prediction markets and how they serve the public interest. He gives 2 examples of how Americans can use prediction markets to hedge commercial risks. These examples are hedging
I
temperature
don't know why I'm yawning, bro.
rises and energy
I'm
price
not even
spikes.
tired.
In theory, let's say you own a hot dog stand on the beach. Maybe if it's too hot, you won't get that many customers, so you want to hedge this risk by purchasing contracts betting that it'll be hot today. Similarly, you might want to buy contracts on gasoline prices to hedge your fuel costs. Kalshi and Polymarket indeed have markets for this, but the volume is tiny. You can bet on what will be the highest temperature today in New York or LA, but these markets only have a few $100,000 of trading volume each. The market for gasoline prices this month only has $200,000 worth of volume. If we look at the
What?
sports markets, it's on a completely different scale. For example, the 2026 Men's College Basketball Championship already has $37 million of volume. The Super Bowl alone generated over $1 billion of volume. According to recent reporting by the Financial Times, over 90% of Kalshi's revenue comes from sports bets. Of the people who use Kalshi and Polymarket, the vast majority are betting on sports. Most of the remainder are speculating on elections or other random things. A tiny fraction of 1% are using them for non-speculative hedging purposes. The entire argument that Americans use prediction markets for legitimate, non-speculative purposes is a red herring.
Yeah, it's
2021
insane.
2023, Kalshi
It
was
is
not allowed. Another argument
insane.
that Selig makes is that prediction markets act as an exist.
What is this headline? Election betting site Polymarket gives Trump a 60 to what? Blah blah blah
The
blah.
US government launched an operation to capture Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro. For obvious reasons, the planning of this operation was kept secret. Polymarket offered an event contract for whether or not Maduro would be ousted from power by the end of January. In the days prior to the event, the odds were pretty low, at about 6 or 7%. There was no publicly available information to indicate that such an operation was imminent. In December, an unknown user created a Polymarket account and funded it with $32,000. He bet the entirety of his money on this market. He didn't
Interesting.
make any other bets. When Maduro was indeed captured, he profited to the tune of over $400,000. It is very difficult to believe that somebody would bet the entirety of their portfolio on such a specific bet that expires so quickly unless they had insider information. With Polymarket, there's no
True.
accountability. The user funded his or her account with an anonymous crypto transfer. We have no idea who they are. But even more concerning than insider trading is the potential for manipulation, specifically in war-related markets. For example, Polymarket currently offers an event contract for whether or not China will invade Taiwan this year. The odds are currently 17%. This contract is very liquid, with almost $1 million having already been traded. It would be relatively easy to build up a position worth a few $100,000 and profit to the tune of millions of dollars if the event indeed happens. Is Xi Jinping going to invade Taiwan so that he can make $1 million on
That's the.
Polymarket?
I guess that's
Of
the other
course
thing
not.
is you bet over time. Like you don't just dump all the money you wanna, 10x at once because it'll sway the odds. You have to like keep, continue like every week you do like $500 or every day, something like that, and you kind of just let it beep, 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 and you just buy every time it dips, I guess.
But it's not too difficult to
Yeah, I mean the
simply trying to compel the CFTC $1 billion at an $11 billion valuation. Preparing
the reality is, I mean, there's so much money in it. It's gonna be so hard for I think any state to just outright ban it. Like maybe it's turned 21 plus and it's taxed and everything, but I think it's just here to stay and like it's just what it is now. And the gambling companies are gonna have to adapt. They'll have to figure out maybe a better way to make money. I don't know. Because yeah, I mean, you just have better odds on Kalshi, because you don't have as big of a rake. Like, and if you're one of these guys that's like quote unquote professionally gambling or sports betting, like the 2% matters. So you go to Kalshi, but I don't know. I think they're here to stay. Operating illegally though, yeah. I mean, this guy made an argument. Guy made a good argument. Yeah, I just wanted to drop that on here. That was from, I mean, you can't tell, but I was live during this. I'm gonna start streaming because I think it's fun. So if you're ever bored and you need something to watch, pop into the stream. We'll chat. I'll be somewhat entertaining. Probably be a mix of like, you know, I still want to do like the business content, So we'll keep doing that, and we'll keep putting that on Perpetual Motion, but I'll probably spin up the other channel, Jeff_Jeffy, which is what I also stream under. So yeah, I mean, check me out on Twitch. I'll put the link in the description. Come say something. Drop a follow, some bullshit. You know, I like this. I like this. I'm having the fun. Come have the fun with me. But yeah, I mean, the Kalshi shit's insane. You saw some of it in the video. Is anything going to change? I don't know. Companies are going to keep finding a way to separate people from their money, and the government's just another person involved. It's not like they're actually here to truly protect you. I mean, there's probably a lot of good people in government who do care and do want consumer protection, but I would assume that that's not the ultimate motive of the system itself. So there's that. But it's just gambling. If you don't want to gamble, don't fucking gamble. The ads are enticing. They've got the celebrities. If you wouldn't put money on it 10 years ago, don't put money on it now just because there's an app and there's other people putting money on it, sort of thing. But yeah, I mean, as always, guys, enjoy the rest of your day. Hope you learned a little something. Lock in, get your shmoney up. Perpetual Motion.